Welcome back, everybody. This is the Crew First Culture Podcast. My name is Jeremy. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. So, jumping right into kind of the message for today, it started out during the conversation with Mark and Tuna that I had on episode 200. Mark shared this quote, and it there was just a piece of it that really stuck out to me, and I even kind of had to point that out to him because it was profound, and it was the more I thought about it, it was really powerful. And put out a post a week or so ago with it on there, hoping to maybe get some ideas and opinions from others, and really didn't get any feedback. So I'm going to share it on the podcast, and maybe it'll find the right people that it needs to find. So starting out, I think I misattributed the quote in my post. I heard it also in Brene Brown's book, which is now escaping me the title of it. I think it's Rise, something Rise. But I believe the original person that stated it is Pima Chandran. So here we go. Compassion is not a relationship between the healer and the wounded. It's a relationship between equals. Only when we know our own darkness well can we be present with the darkness of others. Compassion becomes real when we recognize our shared humanity. So for me, I think that what instantly stood out to me is that whole, it's not the healer, but it's somebody that understands and is compassionate about where we're at, that you need, in that dark time. And I think that it really speaks to me, and I would say probably to anybody that has experienced their own darkness, that when we're there, when we're fighting that, and when we're dealing with that, and when it's just laying on us, we don't want a healer. We don't want somebody to come and say, hey, take this and it'll make you feel better, or hey, do this. All the right answers are never the right answers when you're in that place. You don't need answers. You just need somebody that is compassionate and empathetic, that will get down in that hole with you and just be there with you sometimes. And so that's what really kind of struck me as I heard that. The if you think about physical pain, you think about physical wounds, we've got to go see a doctor or see a physician or see somebody that is going to help us heal from that. But the wounds that we're talking about, even wounds of the spirit, if you will, that's not a wound that we just run to a building that is known for helping people get over illness and just get better. We don't get stitched up, bandaged up, and sent on our way. It doesn't help. In those times, we need somebody in the hole with us, somebody that is going to understand not only where we're at, maybe even why we're at a little bit, but understand that sometimes it's okay just to be down there with us. It doesn't require that you have all the right things to say. It doesn't require that sometimes you have anything to say, just the presence, the power of that presence. So I want to read a little bit more, and this is from Carl Jung. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light of meaning in the darkness of mere being. Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. The dream is the small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul, which opens to that primeval cosmic night that was so long before there was a conscious ego, and will be soul for beyond what a conscious ego could ever reach. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. So I think once again, man, there's a lot to that. especially that very last statement. You know, it's scary to think about accepting oneself completely, who we are, who we truly are, and what we've been through, where we're going. Sometimes it's really hard to accept the reality and the honesty of that. We want to think about what we should be, what we long far in the distance, what we could be, but is it reality? Just accepting who we are, our past, the the family that we come from. There's so many moving pieces to this. But I think that one of the biggest things I want to say about this and because I want to say it, is because I've seen people that I care about push themselves too far or very close to too far. And that is when you're in that hole yourself and you're dealing with your own darkness and you haven't healed from it yet. We can't help others. We just can't. Because when we do that, we are adding their pain and their darkness to what we are already dealing with. And if what we're already dealing with is pushing us to the threshold of what we can stand, then it's going to be too much. So, number one, we've got to deal with our own darknesses. We've got to heal from them. We've got to make it to the other side so that we can help others. Really, we've got to know and come to terms with our limitations. Are there certain topics that even after I've kind of made it through the darkness and overcome and got a good foothold in the healing process, are there certain topics, conversations, areas, or whatever that are just not okay for me to go to? They're gonna trigger thoughts or feelings that are gonna bring me back to where I was. If that's the case, that's a limitation that I've got to pay attention to and I've got to set boundaries for. I've had this conversation with a few people I care a lot about. You know, some of the most compassionate and just empathetic people that I know are the most dangerous to themselves because they don't want to say no. They want to help people. They don't want to send somebody on their way because it's what's best for themselves. But in actuality, if they don't say, I'm sorry, I can't be there with you this time, or I can't be there right now because I'm dealing with my own stuff and I don't have anything to give right now. That doesn't mean that we're just kicking them out the door. I mean, we can say, "Hey, I can't, I can't do it, but here are some resources, or here are some people that may be able to help you." Those are the things that we can do. Those are the things that we are doing as a way to set boundaries to keep ourselves safe, to keep ourselves healthy, yet still taking care of those around us. If we aren't, first of all, if we're not aware of these limitations, we won't know it until it's already triggered something that we really should have avoided. But even when we are aware of them, if we aren't coming to terms with those limitations and setting the proper boundaries, going to be back in the same hole that we've been. And it may even be worse because now we're taking on that weight of the others, taking that vicarious pain from others with us. And so just taking care of ourselves, we've got to do those things so that we can safely help others. So I think that's all I've got in my notes. I think there's so much to this conversation. I know there are a lot of people out there that need to hear not only just this short message that I'm sharing, but lots of messages around it because it goes so far deeper than what the little bit I scratched just now. The big things are when you're in that darkness, it's okay to feel like, I don't want somebody that has all the answers. I don't want to go do something that I know isn't going to help. Sometimes, maybe even if we aren't conscious of it, we know that really what we need is just somebody to be down there with us, somebody to feel the pain that we're feeling, or feel the pressure that we're feeling, and to just be there side by side as we work our way through it. And the second one is protect yourself and your family. If you are doing too much, if you're stretching yourself too far beyond your capabilities of handling it by bringing on the pain and the darkness of others, you're putting yourself in a very dangerous place. So, first of all, you've got to heal properly yourself. And secondly, you've got to set the correct boundaries so that you don't put yourself in a dangerous place. We all have the opportunity, and we are all here to serve. And each of our stories have the potential to help so many people if we share it, if we're willing to do that. But we have to do it right. We've got to do it in a way that is not only going to help others, but at the heart of it is going to help keep ourselves healthy and help us remain the person that we need to be for our families. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Please like and share and subscribe to everything that makes a difference to you. That if you like the message, do whatever you can to support the podcast. I really appreciate that. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much for everything you've done. And like I've been saying here, remember, it doesn't matter what or where you come from, great things can come from you. Thank you.